Hello, class, ISMG 2800. My name is Professor Mohammed Saleh, and I'll be teaching you the 2800 this semester, the fall of 2024. Again, my name is Mohammed Saleh, and just a little bit about myself. I'm almost wrapping up my second year here at CU Denver Business College within the Information Systems Division. I have about 7+ or even 8+ years of experience in academia. At CU Denver, I teach obviously the web design using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We're going to talk about all these different tools in this course. I also teach Python, I teach Java, I teach relational databases using SQL. I also teach the ISMG 3600, which is the Systems Analysis Modeling and Design at both levels, teaching at the undergrad level as well as at the graduate level or master's level. I also teach the ISMG 2050, which is the Excel and Tableau with data visualization. Again, this is my second year at CU Denver. Prior to my CU Denver role, I also taught as a full-time faculty at Grand Canyon University within the computer science and IT cybersecurity division. During I think it was about 5 or 6 years at GCU or Grand Canyon down in Phoenix. I did lots of relational databases, business intelligence. I did Java as well as cybersecurity related courses. Aside from my academia role, I also did about 7+ years out in the industry, going from transportation to retail, then finally to healthcare. I did a lot of, again, database development, front end, back end. I did some tech support, network admin, as well as system admin. It's been about, I want to say about 20 years in the United States, lived in Colorado, in Phoenix, Arizona, as well as a couple of years in Connecticut. I'm from the Middle East, from Jordan. Um, my educational background, I have a PhD in business administration with an emphasis in information systems. I also have a master's in business analytics, as well as a second master's in computer science. My bachelor is from Jordan in computer science, and as I mentioned, it's about 20+ years now in the United States. Now, let's get back on business here. So with the ISMG 2800, as I mentioned, again, I think I'm teaching this course. This is my 5th or 6th time teaching this course. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of tools. Now, we're going to go through the syllabus in just a minute here. But before we do this, what I want you guys to do, the first thing I want you guys to do, hopefully you guys can see my screen. I'm showing Canvas on my screen here. And there's my 2800, the fall. I think I have about 22 students in this course. Now, the first thing we want to mention in this course is if you guys click on the syllabus, I know there's a small mistake at the top of that syllabus. Let me download the file in here. Just want to show you something. When I scroll down on the file, oh, it opened up on my second screen. Let me just move this over. Okay, so here, so this is a fully online course, guys, okay? You don't have to worry about, no need to worry about the class date. This is online, okay? We don't have meeting times. We don't have on-campus classes for this one. This is fully online, okay? So it's an online course, no meeting times, no meeting days. It's fully online. So basically, get to manage and learn this course online from home or from anywhere you want. We have a TA called Munira. This is her email. She'll be responsible for grading all your submissions in this course. If you need my assistance, this is my email. Just send me an email. If you need to see me over a Zoom session, you have few questions or some questions on the course, content, or assignments or submissions, send me an email and I'll be more than happy to set up a Zoom session. We can talk about it. Now, I'm available Monday through Friday, really anytime, anytime throughout the day, like let's say from 8 to 4 to 5 o'clock, Monday through Friday. Um, just let me know. My office, I'm usually on campus twice or 3 days a week. It's in the business college, 4107. If you want to see me face to face, just send me an email to schedule a time or schedule an appointment. Okay. Here's my email address. Again, it's an online course. And again, I'll let you guys read through this. It's a 3 credit course, and there's some objectives and goals and learning objectives. And the way I manage this is basically breaking down each week in its own table, and every table will complete or will include some key topics, some activities and readings, some assignments. We're going to talk about those in just a minute here. Now, we have one midterm exam in the course, and we also have a final project. Okay, so the way the final project is individual. It's not a group project. It's only individual project. And the way it works, every other week, you will deliver a milestone or a small phase of that project until you end up with a final uh, one finished project in the last week that you're gonna deliver. Okay, so as you can see here, week 1 is pretty basic. Week 2, you'll be delivering 2 milestones. Okay, for 2 separate projects. I've got those questions a lot where do we need to work on one project or both? My answer is both projects. Okay, so individual project, and every single student or every individual will be working on 2 different projects. Okay. So the first project is really you're designing and creating a website for a wildlife rescue organization. And the second project is you creating a website for, it's basically a music company. Okay, you're gonna enjoy this. I'll give you some description of each one of those companies. So again, these are individual projects, and every student will actually work on both projects separately. Okay. So as you can see in here, it's the weeks are kind of like breaking down, and each week has its own kind of like a table of contents. Every table will have some learning objectives, some readings, and some assignments as well, all the way down until week 16. We have a grading criteria as well. 60% goes for the assignments and quizzes, and there's also course projects, uh, including all the milestones that you go every single week. This also should include the midterm exam as well for this course. Now, make sure for the due dates, guys, make sure that your submissions are turned in within the due dates. I'm not willing to allow any extensions on any of these assignments. Just make sure the due dates, that you actually work within the due dates of every single assignment. Um, if for any reason you have a problem, you have issues, family related, job related, anything like that, let me know ahead of time, please. Let me know ahead of time. I do not allow for any incomplete, so please do not plan for incomplete in this course. Just make sure that you are up to date with every single milestone, with every single assignment each week. Again, for whatever reason, if you feel like, hey, for this specific week I can't make it on time, let me know ahead of time. Okay. Again, we have a TA that she'll be responsible for grading. I need to know ahead of time. You need my approval. Okay. For an extension, although I did mention that I'm not allowing any extension, but again, if you have an emergency, totally understandable. If you have a family related thing, you have a job related thing, totally understandable. Just let me know ahead of time and we can work it out together, okay? Because I need to let the TA know about it as well, okay? Do not wait until the last minute. Do not wait until the end of the course, because it did happen to me a couple courses ago where a couple of students waited until week 16 to let me know, hey, I had problems the last 4 or 5 weeks. That's why I could not turn in any of those assignments. That's not going to work. Okay, just you need to let me know. You need to communicate with me about any problems on due dates or on extensions. Okay, so just make sure you know this. Now, on the syllabus, again, I'll let you guys read through the syllabus. Just make sure that you know this. This is an online course. I'm just going to minimize this for now. And when I go back to the dashboard, Okay, we have the 2800. And the way that we have this is, if you look at it, um, here's week one. We have, readings. We have PowerPoint slides. We also have assignments dues for that week. Okay, and all the assignments are due by Sunday midnight. Now, here's my advice to you. Okay, before you start working on the assignments, please, please, please make sure that you guys do and go through the slides. These slides are important. It's been extracted, it's been collected, it's been researched on based on more than one textbook. There's no required textbook for this course. I pretty much organized and collected slides taken from textbooks, so that way you guys don't have to buy any of the textbooks. Okay, you don't have to spend money on textbooks. Okay, so this is why it's important you guys go through the slides. Okay, practice the project that you see on the slide, on the PowerPoint slides, before working on the assignments. Okay, now, and again, that's happening every single week. Every single week, you're gonna have slides, okay, to work on. There's a practice project. I'm gonna show you the slides in just a minute here. There's also practice projects that you need to practice. Do this before working on the assignment. In this course, we will be working or using the Visual Studio Code platform, okay, for this course. The reason I say this is because, VS Code or Visual Studio Code it's pretty widely recognized and used in the industry. So having this tool added to your resume, it's a big deal. Okay. So, and it's pretty straightforward when you install the tool, guys. Okay, let me just move this out of my way. If you just go to the browser, and I also provided the links. You go up here again. Where's my? Oh, right there. I also provided the links to install Visual Studio. That's for the PC and that's for the Mac. But if you don't want to go through the links, you can just go launch a browser and say, here's Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code. Oops. Download. It's this one. It's usually the first link. It's a trusted link because it's actually coming from code.visualstudio.com. If you click on it, guys, very straightforward. If you're on a PC, obviously you see this. Click on this link. If you're on Linux, Ubuntu, click on this, or a Mac, click on this. Since I'm using a PC, I'm not going to install it because I already have it. Okay, and you just simply, it's going to download the file for you, and you just click on it, install it. Next, next, next. No need to change anything. No need to check any additional boxes until it installs. The whole process takes less than a minute. Okay, and once that's installed, you can either create a shortcut on your desktop or just search for it down here by typing Visual Studio Code and it will launch for you. Okay, so make sure you have this guy up and running. Now, another thing I want to show you guys, okay, another thing I want to show you guys is file management. Okay, and I've seen this in the past where, again, you're gonna end up creating lots of files. Especially HTML files, CSS files, JavaScript files, loading and unloading some images and videos and animations and things like that. So because this big amount of files, it's so easy to get lost. Okay, you're probably going to save a file or a bunch of those files in your My Documents folder. That's easy to happen, or some of them in My Desktop, or some of them in your OneDrive or whatever. So it's going to be all over the place. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand this. Make sure that you work well on your file management, file organization. And the way I do this is doing it this way. So, and again, feel free to do it however you feel more comfortable with. But the way I do it is I go to my C drive, for example. Okay, yeah, it's almost full right here. When I go in my C drive in here, I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder here. Okay, I'm going to name it, let's say, I probably have one, ISMG, 2800 web development. Okay, go into that folder. Inside this folder, all my week one dues will be inside. Let me just move this out of my way. All my week one dues will be inside my week one. I'm gonna go into this folder. I'm gonna create a subfolder that's gonna house all my images. Although we're not gonna deal with images in the first few weeks, but it's okay. Even if it remains empty for a few weeks, that's fine. All my cascading style sheets or CSS files will go inside this one, for example. All my, let's say, videos or animations or whatever gonna be here. All my, let's say, JavaScript files will be in here, okay? And I'm gonna put my HTML files right at the week one folder. I'm not gonna include it in a subfolder. You can if you want. If you want to just have like a new folder called HTML and just include all my HTML files in it, you can as well, okay? But for now, I'm just gonna put my HTML files just right at the main root or the week one folder, okay? Then when it's time to do week two, you can simply just go here, copy this, Control C on your keyboard, or maybe Command C on a Mac, and just Control V here, and just rename this to week two, okay? All these folders, all the files gets carried over and copied over to week two, okay? It is so easy to manage it this way. That way, let's say, for example, you're halfway through the course, okay, and you need to go back to a specific file or a code that you wrote in week one or week two. It is so easy to do it this way, okay? Now, because I have week one folder created now in my C drive, okay? Now let's switch back to my folder. Now it's time to work on week one assignments. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go and say, well, you can, yeah, if you get prompted with installing updates, you can, well, that's because that's obviously an older version. So I'm probably gonna do this later. That's okay. I gotta go File, open a folder. I want to go ahead. It's in my C drive. Okay, and that's easy for you guys. ISMG to follow. Here's this one. I'm gonna go ahead. I want to work on week one now. It's week one. Just do one left click using your mouse and just select folder. Look what happens here. See all the folders that we just created in here? Now it's listed. And it's so easy to manage it this way. Okay, let's say, for example, now another thing I want to mention before we actually start writing a little bit of code in here is go to the extensions on the left side in here and install an extension called Live Server. Should be listed at the top in here. Here we go. This is the guy. Okay, I have it installed. That's why, yeah, it should be the only Live Server. There's no other text with it. I don't have the installed button, but you should see it because I already have it installed. Okay, so just click on the install button when you see it. It takes less than a minute to install. Once it's installed, it'll tell you it's installed. Okay, and you can always switch back. If you want to turn on the autosave, you can as well by checking the autosave checkbox in here, and then you should be good to go. Now, on week one, for example, you want to create a new file. You highlight week one, create a new file. I'm going to name it index.html. You want to make sure that you provide the right extension in here. See, you created this. If you go back to the folder, go week one. See, index now has been created with an extension HTML right at week one. Again, if you want to include this inside HTML folder, you can as well. But the most common way or practice to do this is always all HTML files actually on the root folder. They're not housed within subfolders, basically, okay? But again, if you want to include it inside an HTML file, you can as well, okay? Here's my HTML file, and here's again, walk through the slides, okay? Here's the slide. These slides are attached to your week one in Canvas. And it talks about a lot. Again, these slides are basically collected from different textbooks, so it's important that you guys go through the slides. Every slide, every week we'll have a slide, and sometimes those slides will have some files that you can use to practice what's in those PowerPoint slides. But for week one, it just happened to have only the slides. There is no other files with it. Okay, so there's a project in this slide called creating a basic web page. It also gives you step-by-step instructions on how to do this. If you just go through the slides in here, it will tell you what to do and how to create those. But meanwhile, I'm not going to go through all the slides. I'll leave it up to you. What I'm going to do is just going to show you just a small example in here, okay? Every HTML document will start with the doc type and explanation of those markups. Okay, it's on the slides, okay? And then I always start with my HTML document with a tag called HTML. Okay, again, it's Visual Studio Code is pretty good at auto completing or auto filling the line for you. Okay, I'm going to do a couple enters. This is the basic structure of every HTML document that you're going to type or you're going to create. You always start with the doc type. You basically telling Visual Studio Code, hey, VS Code, this is an HTML document. By telling it the type of the document is HTML, and what follows is an opening and closing tag for the HTML. Okay. Here, I'm going to go ahead and tell it there's a head tag in here. And inside the head, I'm going to have a title named My First Page. Okay. And here, I'm going to give it, for example, a meta. And this is, we're going to talk about a lot about meta tags, charset, UTF-8. Again, this is responsible for if you have any special characters, guys, in your document. For example, the @ sign or the $sign or the euro sign, for example, this tag takes care of translating those onto your web page. Okay. Again, we're going to talk about those in future classes. So it's an autosave. Okay. Here, let me run this page. Okay, I'm going to go and right click on the index.html and open with live server. Should be on the top of the menu. And this is the result of installing the extension. And it should launch that page. And look what happened here. Nothing in the body, but because I have the title as my first page in here, guys, this title has been translated into the tab up here. If I need to include anything on the page, this has to be inside the body tag. Okay, see, you hit tab on your keyboard, it's going to auto-complete. Whoops, I'm sorry, let me just close it. It's going to auto-complete the body for you. And I'm going to add a small paragraph by just, adding the P tag. Okay, this is my welcome to the ISMG 2800 class. Okay, I don't need to save, it's auto save. Now, here's the thing though, do I need to rerun the page? No. If I go here to the website, you see, it's auto updating this. And the reason why this is happening, it's because of the live server extension that we just installed, or you just installed actually. I had it installed. Okay. Any changes that you do on the side on the document, it will auto update the page right away without the need to rerun this. Okay, this is because of the live server extension. Okay, it's a very, very basic structure of an HTML document. Okay, so you write it. Here's your VS Code in here. Here's your file structure under week 1. You just created a new HTML document called index. Make sure that you type out HTML. Okay, it's not HMLT. I've seen this in the past a lot. If you mistype or have a typo on the extension, it's not going to translate. Okay, it's not going to translate. It has to be HTML. Okay, and this is the basic structure. It's always going to start with these tags. Always, you have to every open tag. Okay, will have a closing tag. This is the open for the HTML. This is the closing for HTML. The same for the head. The same for the title. The meta does not have a closing tag. We'll talk. These are self tags. We're going to talk about this. And remember, you open it, you have to close it. If you miss closing it, it's going to throw an error on this one. Okay, just make sure we have a closing one in here. Okay. So, and again, if you go back to the slides, guys, it is explaining every single code in here. Okay. And, it's talking about the wireframe, the differences between the wireframe and the sitemap. Wireframe is basically, it's you as a designer, where do you want to place contents within a given page? In this case, hey, I'm saying that, okay, I want to have the logo in here, I want to have the navigation bar. We're going to talk about navigation bars a lot in this course and how to design it and where to place it. Okay. The banner, the body, images on the side, sidebar, and the bottom section here. Okay. So the wireframe is really what or where to place contents within a given page. Then we have the sitemap, how you want your pages to be talking to each other or to be linked. It's pretty much like your navigation menu, basically. And there's multiple types. There's a linear, like, for example, you can't start module 2 before finishing module 1. So it has to be module 1, module 2, module 3. You have hierarchical structure, for example, like picking a specific package. This could be a basic, a premium, or an advanced. So you don't have to. I don't want to do the basic, so I can just go to the premium in this case. There's the webbed one as well. course, it's talking about a lot of graphics. There are lots of different ways to make your site more attractive to the audience. Keep in mind that with audience, there's some accessibility, there's some diversity that you have to keep in mind as you start designing. We're going to talk about those a lot as well. How you design typography, the type of font and color that you want to include in your website as you start designing this. I'll let you guys read through these slides, understanding HTML. Now, here is gonna, from now on, look, it's kind of like explaining every single word or tag or element that you have on the site. Just pause and spend some time understanding what are we talking about. And remember, guys, HTML is a markup language. It's not a programming language. And what I mean by this, we use markups like, the tagged HTML or doc type or P or head to define to set the structure of the site. Unlike Java or C# where we actually write code, we customize code. We actually, we're sending code to the engine to compile and come back with something. Here, it's markup. We're just making use of those pre-built markups to set the structure of my page. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you guys, okay? HTML, again, make sure you guys read through this. It's actually explaining a lot in here. For example, you want to have an HR, that's a horizontal line in here. Can I do this? Let's see if I have an HR in here. There's an HR. Okay, what does that mean? The HR means it's actually adding a line on top in here. Okay, so it's reflecting right away. Okay, at some point, you're probably going to need to add, you probably have an HR probably down here as well, isn't it? It doesn't have a closing tag, by the way. Some markup tags, it's only a tag. There's no closing with it. We're going to learn a lot about those. And again, it's going to become a hand nature because you're gonna be coding a lot. So you'll know which tags are self-closing, which tag needs a closing, and which tags does not actually require any closing tags, like HR in this case. Okay, so if we go here, it's also added another horizontal rule on this page as well. Okay. And again, you probably want to add another paragraph in here. Okay. Welcome. Oh, we did welcome. Okay. This is my first experience in web design. Okay. So again, go to the page again. Let's look how it's reflecting and updating right away. Let me know if you have any problems installing the Visual Studio Code. Although it's so very straightforward, you should not have any issues. Okay, and also make sure that you added the extensions of the live server as well. That's important to add. We're going to add a couple more throughout the life of this course, but for now, just focus on adding the live server extension. Okay. What is it? Okay, so here again, just finish up the slides. It's going through every single one of these guys. Look how it's kind of like explaining the tags, what goes in between the tags, and all that good stuff. Okay, go through the slides again. Practice the slides. We're going to talk about JavaScript and jQuery, I think in week 12 and 13. This is where you start actually writing code. Okay, I'll make it very easy for you guys. I have a few great slides and a practice project for you guys to practice how to write JavaScript or client-side scripting code, as well as importing some of those great libraries called jQuery, okay? So if you decide to use other tools like Notepad++ or Sublime, that's totally fine. But again, I want you guys to give the priority to using the Visual Studio Code. Again, as I mentioned before, it's commonly and widely used in the industry, and having these keywords or this software as a tool, on your resume, it'll make your resume really attractive, especially in the industry. Okay. And you'll love it. And there's lots of great tools, lots of machine learning, artificial intelligence also built behind the scene that's going to make your life a lot easier, especially when you start designing designing and developing those websites. Okay. Remember, with this course, we're focusing on HTML, CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheet, as well as JavaScript in the last few weeks of this course. So we're focusing a lot on designing. We're focusing a lot on how to make our pages attractive. We're focusing a lot on how to make our pages responsive. in a sense where we're not only designing pages for desktops and laptops, but we also want to make those pages or websites transferable to mobile devices, to iPads, as well as to smartwatches. How can we make this? We're going to talk about this a lot. I think that's in week 6 and 7 in responsive design weeks, okay? So again, let's explain what's doc type and how to start a document with doc type. What's the HTML tag? It's explaining these guys a lot in here, and it's giving you also screenshots and on what your page should end up like. You see, this is your page should look like this one, okay? Okay, so doc type. Let me just move this out of my way. Okay, so to see line 1, that's your doc type. Line 2 is an HTML with a language called English. Okay, I mean, you can add this if you want. Lang equal ENG or English. Okay, it's not going to really do anything on the page. It's just your setup structure there. Go back in here. So line 2 is closing HTML. 11 is actually this is opening your HTML in line 2 and you're closing it down line 11. You don't have to stick with the exact same line numbers, by the way. Okay, it doesn't have to be the exact same line numbers. Line 3 we have the head, opening head, and we're closing the head on line 6. 4 and 5, both of these tags are housed within the head elements. See, that's, and hence we have a tab in here. So we're tabbing it off in here. 8 and 9, we have the body, and what shows up on the page goes in between the body tags in here. Okay, again, very simple project. It's just a very basic on how to get you more comfortable with the tool and get you started in writing code and writing markups within the Visual Studio Code. Okay, a few questions in here. Adding a title, again, it's kind of like going through this one. How would you add a title inside the title element? And this is an updated one. This is your final one. And you should be, and when you run the page, it's going to look like this one. Now, one final thing I want to show you guys as well. Every single week, okay, you will have at least 2 assignments. So we have a couple dues. I'm going to need to change the, the due date on this one. This is ungraded. I'll leave it up to you if you guys want to make it, but there is a couple assignments dues on Sunday next week. Okay, make sure you guys do this. Every single assignment will have at least one file that's talking about instructions. Okay, so here's a document that has a list of instructions. If you download this, okay, let me just open this guy up, and it's pretty easy. Again, all these instructions needs to be applied on Visual Studio Code, and I showed you how to organize your files. Right, let me open this guy up. Here we go. Okay, just enable this. There we go. So again, start. It's week 1. Oops. You already have this set up on your computer. It's week 1, and it's a time for me to create an HTML document, okay, for my first assignment. Use the exact same structure in here. You're still in week 1, right? And you already have the structure set up. You just probably need to do some minor changes according to what you see on the instructions in here, okay? So again, open Visual Studio. You don't have to stick with the same path. If you have it as, C slash, what is it? ISMG 2800 / week 1, that's totally fine. You don't have to stick. I'm just giving you an example in here, okay? Add a lang attribute to the starting HTML tag and specify the language as this one. Look, okay, it's already been added. It's already there, you see? So I'm kind of like giving you a solution for this first assignment. So this is good, this is good, this is good as well. See, it's kind of like an easy way to get a full credit here. Add a charset attribute to the meta tag. Good, okay, here's a charset. I've added this to the meta tag. Here's a charset UTF-8. It's there, okay. And he wants a title to be chapter 1, apply your knowledge, okay. So you're gonna change the title in here. That's the only thing you're gonna need to do so far. Chapter 1, apply my knowledge. Really easy. Okay. In the body element, I'm gonna list a P or a paragraph and house this inside. So chapter 1, apply your knowledge. So you don't need all this. Just gonna remove this. Remove this one as well because it's not asking me to add an HR. You're just gonna need to change this to what's on the document or on the instructions, that right there. below the first paragraph, add another paragraph element that includes your name and today's date. Really easy. Below this one, is going to add another one. What's your name? Maybe, you know, Mohammed Saleh. And date is, for example, what is it? You know, 8/14, whatever, 2024. Okay, that's it. Easy. Okay. And go back to the document. Below the second paragraph, add an HR followed by 2 blank lines. So add an HR, then enter. Easy. Below this break, add another paragraph element that states the name of the text editor you are using to complete. So just tell me, hey, you know, tell me on this paragraph, tell me which editor are you using. In this case, we're using Visual Studio Code. So just tell me, hey, I'm using the Visual Studio Code in this course. Below the third one, add another element. So how many paragraphs? 1, 2, 3. That includes a summary about how to plan a website. And if you read the slides in here, you should have a slide that tells you how to plan a website. So if you just copy it from the slide and just put it on your website, you should be okay there. I think there's somewhere in here how to plan a website somewhere. You'll find it right there. Here we go. That's slide 15, okay? So if you put this in an easy, nice way, as a paragraph, you should be okay there. And below the fourth one also, it's lots of P tags, okay? Add another one that includes 1 or 2 statements about what you have learned in module 1 or week 1, okay? Blank lines, enter 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, okay? And save your time. Now, make sure, again, it's already been saved. Once you're done, guys, once you're done, what you need to deliver or upload for grading, remember, we have a TA to grade, okay? Now, remember, we're running this on the website. If you can, send me a screenshot of your final website. Make sure you just capture everything as well as this file. Okay? You can either upload it to Canvas individually, just as a file, or if it doesn't work, just zip it. Zip it and then upload the zipped folder. And it should be okay for grading, okay? That's one. Now, we also have another assignment that's due this next week. What is it called? What is mine? It's called, again, we have an instructions here only. Some assignments will have an instruction as well as a file. Okay, like an Excel file. Or not an Excel file, I'm sorry, like some instructions and some other files that you probably want to use to your website. Some of them, okay? But if I go back in here, there's also a second assignment where you're gonna build your personal portfolio, okay, on this one. Again, we only have one file, Red document. Plan a website by completing the table in this file that's attached. This time, download the document, answer the questions with thoughtful, realistic responses. Be sure to sketch the wireframe for your page. So again, you probably need to download this, update it, and re-upload it back on for your instructions or with your updates. So if I open this guy up, okay, good. Ideas for your website, okay? So you probably want to put 5 ideas, really any ideas, it doesn't matter, okay? To showcase your skills, you probably want to have an idea where you have a few navigation bars and you have a navigation bar for a navigation menu for career, for educational history, for work related, for internships and things like that, okay? You know, fill in the blanks in here, answering those questions. There's no right or wrong answer. Just make sure you're not missing anything there. Okay, wireframe and sitemap. Again, these are presented on the slides. I just showed you this. We have a wireframe example, follow the same example, and we also have some sitemaps example as well. Okay. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Again, we have a couple assignments due. If you need me, if you have any questions, my email is on the syllabus. Again, this is a totally online course. If you need me for a Zoom or anything like that, just send me an email. We can schedule something up. And I want to wish you guys the best of luck in this course as well as in this whole semester. And thank you for watching.